and welcome inside. As you can tell from the title, today we are talking about the Denver Broncos for another one of our NFL team previews. If you guys want to see the rest of those, make sure you hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel, iTunes, Soundcloud. You can find all of that on our pinned tweet on our Twitter account. Make sure you go follow us on there too, at the Sports Sermon, sports with a Z. But let's get into the Denver Broncos today. I am Dylan Staggy here with Jason Gandhi and Dan Majors to give you a preview for the 2018 season for the Broncos. Last year they had an underwhelming season, finishing at 5-11 and fizzling out after a 3-1 start, much due to their quarterback play, in which Trevor Siemian, Brock Osweiler, and Paxton Lynch managed to throw more interceptions than they did touchdowns. It was just a very bad season for the Broncos, but they're looking to bounce back this year. Hopefully for them, fix the quarterback position, bring in Case Keenum this offseason. We'll talk about him in a little bit, but they kept Vance Joseph in a debate this offseason. They thought about firing him, but he will be coming back to the team this season. Do you guys agree with the decision?
Yeah, for me, I didn't think there was really any debate on whether he should be back or not. He was a year one coach. He really did not have much to work with. The quarterback situation was horrible, so give him time. I mean, I never thought this was going to be a one-year rebuild for the Broncos. I think people that thought Vance Joseph should be gone, I know that, it was talked about, so it's not, a bad question. It's just, I think those people really just don't understand, how coaching works. You cannot take a team with that type of roster to a Super Bowl or at least the playoffs, any of that kind of stuff in 1 year. I definitely think Vance Joseph has a few years. I think he's a good coach for this team. I think he's a really good fit. It's just going to be a few years.
Yeah, I totally agree. You definitely got to give him another year. Unless he totally just messed everything up, then you have to give a coach at least 2 years to evaluate him. At least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it was definitely a debate because, the Broncos made the playoffs in 2013, 14, and 15, and then missed out in 2016, but still had a winning season. And then last year they underwhelmed. They still had a great defense on the roster, so I think it was a debate, but I think you have to give him a new situation with a new quarterback to really evaluate him fairly. So I think the Broncos did make the right decision to bring him back. That's what John Elway said. He said he deserves a competent quarterback to really be able to
Paxton Lynch is so bad. Yeah, talk about that. The dude's terrible. They got him in the first round, and they don't even want to play him. They really do not want to play him anymore. It's just, he is so freaking bad.
Yeah, that's sad.
Trevor Siemian, I was really hoping would work out. I thought he'd be an okay game manager. He's on the Vikings now, so Case Keenum for Trevor Siemian. A great non-trade, but trade.
That's not really how trades work, but
it's how it worked, yeah.
But let's talk about this QB situation. The Broncos did bring in Case Keenum this offseason to try and fix their problems that I mentioned last season. How well do you think he performs this year?
Honestly, I don't think he's the fix. I think he really outplayed expectations, obviously in Minnesota, but look at who he had around him. He had Dalvin Cook, Latavius Murray, when obviously Cook got hurt, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, and Kyle Rudolph. The Broncos do not have that and do not have close to that. Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders are both older. I think Keenum's going to struggle. I don't think he's going to have a great season. I could see a 3,500-yard season, 21 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. So not struggling in terms of good to great. I just think he's going to be average. I don't think he's going to be a playoff caliber quarterback. I don't think he's a reason that, the Broncos are getting back to the playoffs because they got Case Keenum this year. For me, I think Minnesota is one of my 3 Super Bowl favorites because they upgraded so heavily that quarterback position because I did not look at Case Keenum as a legit starting quarterback in this league. I think he did a great job here, in a role that he had to fill, but I would genuinely be worried as a Denver Bronco fan if Case Keenum was my quarterback long term.
I think it's definitely a better situation than last year.
Yeah.
They arguably had the worst quarterback last year, or worst quarterback unit last year. So Keenum is definitely an upgrade. They'll now get to see what they have at receiver with their 2 draft picks in Cortland Sutton and Deshaun Hamilton. So the quarterback position. I love
those 2, by the way. I absolutely love those. We talk about that later when we talk about the draft, but oh my gosh, I love those 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to disagree with you, Jason, here. I like what Keenum brings. He was so consistent last year with the Vikings. And, the Broncos have a solid defense, too. And really, he just needs to bring that same consistency. That's really all the Broncos need to survive. I mean, again, they upgraded their defense with Chubb in the draft. Again, we'll talk about that later. And you say the Broncos don't have the same weapons the Vikings do, but I mean, Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Courtland Sutton, Deshaun Hamilton. They drafted Royce Freeman.
Yeah, so you're talking about 3 rookies and 2 aging veterans. Like, you tell me that's equal to Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, Dalvin Cook, Kyle Rudolph? Like, that's not even close to that. That doesn't touch them. Like, they're in different conversations. Demaryius Thomas is the only one that should be in that conversation. You have yet to see Deshaun Hamilton.
I think those are far away.
How? You're telling me Adam Thielen or Stephon Diggs, whoever you look at the number 2, is equal to Emmanuel Sanders? Are you living in 2013?
No, I'm not equal to Emmanuel Sanders, but it's not.
And then who's their tight end?
Jake Butt or Troy
7th round pick. Troy Fumagalli, another rookie. Like, they're banking on
those rookies are going to be solid. But
they'll be fine. They're not Kyle Rudolph.
Oh,
I mean, Kyle Rudolph's not anything insanely special either.
But he's a top 7 tight end. Yeah. All these guys are not that much better, but they're better.
They're not proven yet.
But, like, no, what I'm saying is, like, you keep going through these lines. Like, Emmanuel Sanders is not that far off, and he's not that, but, like, when you have all these guys aren't that far off, like Royce Freeman and Dalvin Cook, pretty big gap. When you look at Demaryius Thomas to Adam Thielen, you probably say, okay, they're equal. But then you look at number 2s, Stephon Diggs and Emmanuel Sanders. Stephon Diggs. Like, I don't think he's got that many weapons. And you look at what Case Keenum's done in the past. There's no reason to say, this is normal for him. Last year when he had played 10 games at quarterback, he had more interceptions than touchdowns. He had 9 touchdowns, 11 picks.
Okay, that same year, Todd Gurley was also one of the worst running backs in the league.
Exactly, so he doesn't have a running back, he's going to be terrible.
That was Jeff Fisher's fault. That's what I'm saying.
Everything's Jeff Fisher's fault if you're talking to anyone. But, like, I mean, it is what it is. Like, he was good under Jeff Fisher the year before. Like, Jeff Fisher
means he's good.
No, I'm saying Todd Gurley. Like, Todd Gurley was good the year before under Jeff Fisher. It's not Jeff Fisher's fault. Like, it's called a sophomore slump. Like, it happened. But you just made my point by saying Todd Gurley was bad. You're telling me Royce Freeman's going to have a great running back campaign? No. Like, he'll be fine. Like, if he's a 1,000-yard back, he's done more than enough. Like, I don't see any way that he's going to, like, take the lead. He's not a Kareem Hunt. Like, I think he's fine. And that's my point, is that if he's bad or he's not great, what is Case Keenum going to do? Because, like, no defense is going to go, I can't let Case Keenum beat me. I'm going to have to go heavy on pass. Like,
I didn't say that. I said he just has to bring consistency. The same thing he brought to the Vikings last year.
But I don't see him being able to. He doesn't have weapons. Like,
he doesn't have as good a weapon.
Yeah, he's
not as good, but
not close.
I wouldn't say not close, but
I mean, these guys aren't proven yet.
Yeah, like, none of these guys are, like, their names sound great. Like,
Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders?
They're both, like, 90. Yeah,
they're... Like, you name anybody else, though.
Yeah. Name every single person you named was a rookie or second-year player.
You just said you love Courtland Sutton and Deshaun Hamilton.
But they're not.
I wouldn't trade him over Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs.
But those are the 3rd and 4th wide receivers, not the 1st and 2nd.
They're not 3 and 4. I mean, they have guys ahead of them anyway. But, like,
yeah, but I mean,
they're not going to be that. They're not going to be like PTPs. They're not going to be primetime players. They're not going to, like, ball out and be like, oh wow, we have like Courtland Sutton. I just like their games. Like, in 3 years, I think they're going to be really good. I mean, we might as well go into the draft conversation that was on to next. I think Courtland Sutton and Deshaun Hamilton are going to have one heck of a career in a couple of years. Same thing with Royce Freeman. I think he's going to have a very good career in a couple of years. That's why I really do not think that Case Keenum is to fix their problems, because they are so young with all of their best players are all young besides Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders offensively. Bradley Chubb was a heck of a snag. I thought the Broncos absolutely nailed this draft. So I don't want to come off as like, oh, you hate the Broncos. I mean, like, I do because I'm a Raider fan, but like not being biased. Like, I really do like what they did in the draft. I thought they nailed it out of the park with Courtland Sutton, Deshaun Hamilton, and Bradley Chubb, and Royce Freeman. Like, that is 4 very good players, but they're going to need time to develop. Yeah. It's very rare to see 4 rookies all ball out. The closest thing we saw last year was the Saints with Marshawn Lattimore and Alvin Kamara, and we all agree that was a crazy season for them. So I think in a couple of years they're going to be really good, but they need a quarterback that's on that same timetable. I don't think Case Keenum will ever be that answer. I think he's a stopgap until they find a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, with the draft, I think they got the best player in the draft, in my opinion, in Bradley Chubb, and picked up some other big college football names like Royce Freeman and Josie Jewell. I liked all the picks, especially upgrading their skill position. So that solid draft for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that did bring some weapons around Case Keenum. I think, I mean, they're not going to contribute, like be the number 1 and 2 wide receiver immediately in Sutton and Hamilton. But I think they will be able to help this season. Royce Freeman should challenge at least for the starting job.
I hope he wins it. I really do. I like him more than I like Devontae Booker. I hope he absolutely goes out and balls. I really like his game.
Yeah, again, the Josie Jewell pick, like you mentioned, Troy Fumagalli only has 9 fingers, but still a solid tight end.
Yeah.
But let's get into, I want to hear you guys' record prediction, division place, and whether the Broncos make the playoffs.
So, first things, I do not think they make the playoffs. I think they finish 4th in the division. I have them going 7-9. I think 4 out of their first 6 games are at home, so they're going to have to get hot if they're going to make some noise. I just really worry about this offense. I think they're too young and are not talented enough to get over the hump, and I think they're going to be 7-9. I think this AFC West has a really tough schedule, and this Broncos team's not fit to do it. Their defense is going to win them games. That's why I have them getting 7, but I really think that's about it. I think 7 to 8 is kind of their ceiling.
Yeah, I'm not super high on the Broncos, but I do have them at 8-8. They won't make the playoffs, and they will still finish 4th in the division. And the reason why I have them at 8-8 is because they have not finished with 2 straight losing seasons since 1972, and I don't expect that to change.
So they're going to go 500 just so they avoid that, right? Week 17, they're 7-8. They're like, guys, it's been 1972. We have to get the win.
Yep.
That's funny. Yeah.
I also have them at 8-8. I think they're 2nd in the division, and I say probably not in the playoffs, but I wouldn't be surprised if I think they'll definitely be in the hunt, and I wouldn't be super surprised if they snagged a wild card spot this year.
You must think that Royce Freeman's gonna have a MVP type caliber season, or on the other side, you think Case Keenum's gonna have a hell of a season. Like, what are you gonna bank on to get them to 2nd in this division?
The Chiefs being not as good as they were last year,
but you still have a heck of a team. You have the offensive rookie of the year. Wasn't he the offensive rookie of the year in Kareem Hunt? If not, he should have been. He was the league's leading rusher. So, I mean, they have that. The Raiders have John Gruden, and they were 11-5, whatever they were 2 years ago. And then the Chargers are obviously loaded talent-wise. I just don't see how 1, 8-8 gets you to 2nd in this division, and 2, how they're anywhere near. I don't see them being 2nd. I think 3rd was maybe, but probably not. I just don't know how you see 2nd.
I think this division is it's definitely one of the closest.
It's not that good, but they're all close.
Yeah.
But besides the Broncos, I think it's Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, and then a step down is the Broncos.
I disagree. I put the Broncos, Raiders, and Chiefs all around the same conversation. I put the Chargers a little bit ahead, but obviously they have injury concerns every single year, so you don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it in that podcast. I am not drinking that Kool-Aid like the rest of the media is. We got called out on one of our episodes, Don, you remember better than I did, for just listening to the media the whole time. I forget what episode that was, but, that's one thing that, with the Chargers, I am not that high on them. Yes, they have a lot of talent, but they get hurt every single year. They were that one team I just would never put my money on. I don't know. I worry about the Chargers. I think people are hyping them up way too much. Them and the Browns remind me a lot of the Bucks of last year. We're they have a lot of talent, but can they get it done? Can they get it? And we saw what happened there. I don't know. We talked about that in the Chargers podcast, but I'm just not that high on the Chargers as everyone else. I still think they're gonna be really good because, like I said, this division isn't super strong. I'm not as they're definitely going to win this and they can compete for the Super Bowl with the Patriots and all that, like you've heard on the rest of the shows.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. As you heard in the intro, though, Jason mentioned Scooch. We all have Scooch cases on our phones. The Wingman, it's an awesome case. And that contest that Jason mentioned, make sure you either comment or subscribe to our channel. Comment on this video or subscribe to our channel on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, whatever platform suits you the best. And you will be automatically entered into winning a contest for a Scooch Wingman case. So make sure you go ahead and do that and check out our other NFL team previews. But that's all we have for you today, and we will see you very soon with some more team previews.